let's talk about that. A really successful weekend for you guys, a weekend I feel like you guys really wanted and needed. How did you guys feel after Saturday's game?
Yeah, it was. There's no old school starter jacket up here, no props or, no stories about the Easter Bunny or Santa or Bigfoot. So, it's the new guy here. But really good overall on the weekend. We went into last week, our message was it's a playoff weekend. Like if we were ever going to gain any traction on this season and continue the belief system in the room that we can do something special this year, we had to get virtually all, if not all, the points this past weekend, and that's how we sold it. We're still getting better. We're still learning some things, but everything right now is outcome-based. Like it's a time of year where you either win or you go home, and so that was our message all week, that we had to get 6 of 6 or 5 of 6. And then sure enough, Friday night after the first period, we find ourselves chasing the scoreboard. We've been in that spot a lot, but we didn't feel like we were chasing the game. We went after the first period, encouraged our guys to stick with it. They did. We ended up having a great territorial advantage, shot advantage. We kill a penalty kill late in the game that there was zero panic on the bench. I'm not sure Mercyhurst got a shot, and then we get a power play goal in the overtime session, which was huge. So we felt good about our game that night. In fact, we told the guys the next day, Saturday morning message was, we loved 90% of our game Friday night. 5% defensively, 5% offensively we had to clean up. The 5% defensively was teams are going to create chances. Good teams, whether it's through their forecheck, some line rush, power play, are going to create chances. And but we were aiding teams in those chances, whether it was bad read by our defenseman, not having a third man, D-zone coverage a little bit. We were helping teams create chances. And if we continued to do that, we weren't going to be long for the season. So that was a small area we needed to clean up. And then 5% offensively, we can't keep out shooting teams 45-20 and scoring one goal and expect to win. So we just encouraged guys to be a little bit harder in the grade A areas, be a little bit meaner and nastier around the blue paint, and find a way to get that second goal before we get into overtime, or the third goal in a 3-2 game. If you look at the goal we scored, that Bennett Norland, Joe Tyron, Pierce Plumer line scored our 5-on-5 goal. They gave Mercyhurst nothing offensively the whole night, and yet they were the line that scored our goal. Brandon Cook puts a puck to the net, big body, Pierce Plumer at the front, chips one home, and we just need to do a little bit more of that, because this time of year, that's what it's going to be, our tight 2-1 and 3-2 type games. So, and then Saturday came out, and sure enough, in the first 5 minutes, we hand Mercyhurst a chance, a 2-on-1 that, again, we make a bad read by a defenseman at the offensive blue line. Don't play a 2-on-1 the way we'd like to see our guys play a 2-on-1, and Schilling has to make literally an ESPN top 10 type save. But then from that point forward, Saturday, we felt the rest of our game was really sound. Didn't panic. We're comfortable in the one goal or tied game. Again, we have a late kill that we get a little momentum from, and we find a way to get a goal late in that game and pick up all 3 points. So very happy overall with the weekend. We proved to ourselves, if and when we host playoff series here, we can get it done on a weekend. Now the challenge is to go out to RIT, very good team, a place we've had some success, and prove to ourselves that we can win a road series. Because if we're going to go where we want to go, ultimately we are going to have to win a road series to keep our season going.
For you, let me ask you this. Would you rather host in the first round or get a bye?
Great question. I mean, I think you'd always, Frank's phrase, I think he's still undefeated against bye. Like, that'll be coming out if we get another bye here. But I think you'd always prefer the bye. The downtime this time of year with our roster is a little bit short as it is. There's just a lot of value. The challenge is to try and create in practices those up-tempo, hard type of practices that teams who are playing that weekend are facing, but we'd rather do that. We'd rather try and create that scenario and give our guys the rest they need so that we're faced coming off a bye, and we have that opportunity. That's what's exciting about this week. At worst, we'll host a play-in weekend. At best, if we can go out there and get most or all of the points, we'll put ourselves in a spot to get a bye, and certainly we would prefer that.
Would you mind talking a little bit about, there were some great performances from non-traditional sources this weekend. That fourth line was really good. Luke Rowe had a really good Saturday. What did you see out of the not usual suspects?
Sure, and to win right this time of year, you're going to have contributions from across your lineup and your depth players. I think what that's a result of are those guys having had opportunities the last 3-4 weeks and now kind of taking advantage of those. Bennett Norland, Joey Tyron, Pierce Plumer. Obviously, Pierce and Joey have played a lot of games for us, but Bennett Norland had a really good weekend. Certainly earned our trust that is a guy we can put out there as a center and not just be sound defensively, but help create for us. So he's taken advantage of the ice time that he's got. And Luke Rowe, you've probably seen that progression over the last 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks, getting in the lineup, being sound defensively, but every weekend now adding some things offensively for us, whether it's 5-on-5 or he's got that big weapon of a one-timer that he's using on our power play. And we're really encouraged with our young players, and we really believe if we stay healthy here, like I said, this weekend was huge for us to continue that belief system in the room that we can still do something special here this year.
This has been, I would say, probably by Air Force's recent definition, kind of a down year record-wise, but you're still have the option to host and for this bye week. Does that kind of pick you up a little bit?
Yeah, it does. And what picks us up, honestly, is our guys' never say die attitude. Like, they come each week. Practices have been hard, competitive. So there's a willingness there. They're still interested. Like, this time of year, it can be hard for teams, depending what their record is, to stay interested. And you can say you're interested, but do you see it in practice? Do you see it in the games when it gets tight? Are guys willing to block shots, take hits to make plays? Those things can creep out of your game if the collective group isn't truly interested. And so this group is interested. Our record isn't maybe what we'd like it to be, but I think we've lost, and you don't want to lose close, but we've lost, I think, 7 one-goal games. We've lost a couple of other games that were, in effect, 1-goal games, ended up being 2 by virtue of an empty net goal. So we've kind of been there, and this was a good weekend, hopefully, again, to gain some traction, get over that hump, and make some strides here. Win more of those close games than we're losing.